Good evening, everyone. Warm welcome to Prime Business with me, Pious Kojo Backah. Coming up, former President and Chief Executive of MasterCard, Kojo Backah, appointed a new President of World Bank. What will this mean in terms of protecting the interests of developing countries like Ghana? We will engage a senior finance lecturer on that. Also, more revelations as aggrieved customers of Gold Coast Fund Management picket the Securities and Exchange Commission for a second day demanding payment of their locked-up funds.
A lot of people are dying because of these locked-up funds. We have over 800 of our pensioners, customers of our members died and gone. And if government has so released the money to you, you could be mean enough, you could be insensitive enough to keep this money for your parochial interest.
Plus, pressure mounts on government to cut down on its expenditure and map up strategies to stimulate economic growth in the wake of the current economic challenges. Details from the second edition of the Joy Business Town Hall meeting.
To sacrifice, we are all sacrificing already, but what is government sacrificing is the question we should be asking. 40 fleets of cars following the president when they're going on tour. It's crazy.
Pleasure, you could stay with us. I am Pious Kojo Backah. Details now. The executive directors of the World Bank have today selected Kojo Backah as president of the World Bank for a 5-year term beginning June 2, 2023. Kojo Backah most recently served as vice chairman at General Atlantic. There is more in this report.
Backah takes over from David Malpass as new president of the Bretton Woods institution. Previously, he was president and CEO of MasterCard, a global organization with nearly 24,000 employees. Under his leadership, MasterCard launched the Center for Inclusive Growth, which advances equitable and sustainable economic growth and financial inclusion around the world. He was honorary chairman of the International Chamber of Commerce, serving as chairman from 2020 to 2022. He became an advisor to General Atlantic's climate-focused fund Beyond Net Zero at its inception in 2021. Backah served as co-chair of the Partnership for Central America of private organizations that works to advance economic opportunity across underserved populations in El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras. He was previously on the boards of the American Red Cross, Kraft Foods, and Dow Incorporation.
So what will the Kojo Backah-led administration mean to developing countries like Ghana at a time when the country is at the mercy of the IMF for an economic program? Thankfully, we've been joined via Zoom by a senior finance lecturer at the University of Cape Coast Business School, Sriam Kawo, for his thoughts on this. Grateful, Mr. Kawo, you could join us on Prime Business. Now, what will this mean in terms of protecting interests of developing countries like Ghana?
All right. Thank you very much. Good evening to the listeners too. Looking at the work the gentleman has done over the years, leading MasterCard with employees over 24,000, a global campaign on net zero, which will imply that there should be sustainability in the global environment. And is someone who promotes financial inclusion and economic growth around the world, coming from a country that have a background of not very much developed, and looking at the processes that have gone on in selecting him, it means that the global financial environment will now change with his coming on board. Will ensure that everybody is given a fair share, will ensure that green financing is taking the lead to make sure that there is sustainability of the funding that are provided for businesses and countries around the world. And so it's a good news for all of us, including those of us in Ghana. That should tell us the rigorous process that have gone on in selecting this particular gentleman, because the governor of Bank of Ghana could also be possible candidate for this very role. But selecting him out of the lot and the processes that have gone on means that, yes, this is a gentleman who loves everyone and who will ensure that the right things are done around the world.
I want us to talk about what we should look forward to in terms of reaching an IMF deal with his new appointment.
Yeah, so with the new appointment, we should not be so much excited because we are part of the process that have nominated him and maybe trying to push for him to come. He is going to ensure that there is the right thing that is done. The processes that have been set out in terms of the debt sustainability level would also have to go on, meeting the ideals of the external creditors and pushing that to the IMF board will still have to go on. He will not want to come and curtail the entire process and jump the whole thing. If you look at what he has done over time, he is the man who will stand for the right thing to be done and making sure that countries come out of difficulties that they face from time to time. And so, yes, it's good news. He will want to push for these things to be done, but at the same time, he will ensure that there is the right thing that we do as a country.
Meaning that it has no influence in whatsoever in the ongoing negotiations with our external creditors and members of the Paris Club or the G20 members?
They have influence. They have influence in ensuring that all member countries are protected. And so he's going to push that particular agenda. But he's not going to jump the processes that have been set out by the World Bank. He has been part of the World Bank group and he knows what processes they go through. So coming in will not jump that particular process, but he will just make sure that the right thing is done by influencing the other countries, talking to them to speed up the negotiations as we are waiting for it. Maybe one of the greatest things that we can expect from him is influencing the Paris Club to set up the creditor committee to facilitate the process for Ghana to get the IMF deal.
Thank you very much, Sir Mkawo, for your time. He is a senior finance lecturer at the University of Cape Coast Business School, sharing his perspective with us on the latest appointment at the World Bank there. Now, the aggrieved customers of the Fund Gold Coast Fund Management are accusing the Finance Ministry and the Securities and Exchange Commission for what they describe as thievery. It is coming after a statement by President Akufo-Addo in 2020 that monies have been disbursed for onward payment to all affected customers due to the financial sector cleanup. But the convener for the group, Charles Yami, said this is untrue. Speaking to Joy Business, he revealed that government officials have reached out to them claiming their monies have been disbursed. Meanwhile, they have not received the same from the Securities and Exchange Commission. My colleague James Session was at day 2 of the protest and interacted with some of the aggrieved customers.
It's day 2 of this particular picketing, and it appears they've been trying as much as possible to get their monies being paid to them, but unfortunately attempt to reach out to the Securities and Exchange Commission had actually proved futile. I have the convener of this particular group, Charles Yami. He's been giving some revelation. I would come to him for him to help me just help me understand what are these revelations about. Charles, talk to me. You've been earlier giving out some revelations. I just want to know, what is it about?
It's about yesterday, after we finished with our picketing, we were expecting to hear something from the authorities, but we heard nothing. But in the evening, I received a call from a key member in this government from the Flagstaff House. He called me trying to sympathize with us. And he said that he doesn't know what Kenoforiata and the Ubamitete wants. And I asked him why. He said that he was there when the president was signing everything regarding our payment to the finance minister. And he said that that's the reason why the president stood to claim that he has paid all victims of financial cleanup exercise. Then I said, really? And he said, yes. So, and then I asked him, then where is the money? He said that the money is in between the finance minister, Kenoforiata, and the director general of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Reverend Ubamitete. But what we are telling them is that such wickedness must stop. This this money, a lot of people are dying because of these locked up funds. We have over 800 of our pensioners, customers, of our members died and gone. We have the evidence of the obituary invitations. And if government has so released the money to you, you could be mean enough, you could be insensitive enough to keep this money for your parochial interest. We are calling on the Minister of Finance, Mr. Kanoforiata, Reverend Ogba, you stand before the pulpit of God. Do the needful. Wherever the money is, bring it out and disburse. We are calling on the President. President, you have been misled, Nana Akufo-Addo. If they have reported to you that they have paid all financial cleanup exercise victims, you have been misled, you have been misinformed. Here we are, customers of Gold Coast Fund Management. We are over 55,000 members, customers. We haven't received our payment. So, Mr. President, do the needful.
Right, so there is some concerns with respect to this particular group here. Now, let me talk to or engage some of the aggrieved customers here. I have Mr. Charles here, who is also an aggrieved customer. Mr. Charles, just help me understand this. How much did you invest in this? All this while, have you been trying to reach out to SEC, the finance ministry, any staff within in government and all that? Is there any attempt to do that?
Yes, please. Good afternoon to my viewers. I cannot actually disclose how much has been there, but it's been a lot. Yes, we've tried all our best. We've done demonstrations, but nothing good is coming out. We've done a lot, and as at now, we have to depend on our friends to survive, which of course shouldn't be, because we plan very well in our life. What is investment? Investment is to take care of you and to take care of your family and extended family. So somebody sit down and then decide for you, this is how it's going to be. I believe whatever was done by this government is not good, because even closing of the banks also increase unemployment. Because the guys who were working on all the banks are now moving up and down. Some are jobless, some are even involved in galamsey, which of what they need to survive. So I'm saying that the government should mobilize as soon as possible to pay our money.
The money is over 1 million Ghana cedi, and the impact is very high because I can't pay my children's school fees. I can't even send money to my mom. And there's a lot of things in the house that I can't do. My husband is a pensioner, so it's not easy to live by pension money alone. So the impact is very great. So we are just begging, or we are telling the government to pay us our money. All that we need is our money, nothing else.
Right. So there's a situation here at the premises of the Securities and Exchange Commission. They're saying over 800 persons, that is aggrieved customers, have actually lost their lives due to this locked up funds. They still have some of the aggrieved customers who are bedridden as we speak now. And all they want is for the Ministry of Finance and the Securities and Exchange Commission to make sure they pay their monies to them as soon as possible. As we may recall, in 2020, President Akufo-Addo said these depositors have had their monies paid to them, or there is a certain amount that has been disbursed to these depositors. But you're telling me today that that's absolutely untrue. None of their 55,000 members have had any single payment done. Right, so we've tried, I've been here for almost 4 hours now. We've tried to reach out to any member within the Securities and Exchange Commission, but all attempts had actually proved futile. None is ready to have any conversation with the media or even these aggrieved customers here.
My colleague James Shen filed that report. Now, panelists of the second edition of the Joy Business Town Hall meeting have made a passionate appeal to the government to take the bold decision by cutting down on expenditure to stimulate economic growth in the wake of the current economic challenges. Speaking on the theme post-DDEP IMF agreement, what's next? The panelists said the government has a major role to play in ensuring the economy is brought back to sound footing. Here are highlights of discussions at the UPSA Business Auditorium.
So to say that they should sacrifice, I mean, we are all sacrificing already, but what is government sacrificing is the question we should be asking. 40 fleets of cars following the president when they're going on tour. It's crazy. To finance fueling those cars alone is a lot of money. I mean, that notwithstanding, allowances, you're taking way too much allowances than you deserve. How about you tell us, okay, I'll cut down my salary by 30%, I won't receive allowances. Gloria spoke and I was so in love with what she said. She mentioned that when we look at our expenditure, there are a lot of loopholes in there that when we put them together, there would be a huge amount of money for us to do things with ourselves. So instead of saying they should sacrifice, because if my father sacrifices, how am I paying my fees for the next 2 semesters that I'm left with in school? So we should look at other ways other than telling them to, because they've sacrificed enough. They've worked for the country. They've toiled. They've sweat for the country. What more should they do at this point?
That in as much as the program will come on board, it will come with certain conditionalities. But then let's look at the positive side of it. If only they remain so disciplined with the money, and then they will be forced to cut down some of their expenditure and all that. Joseph mentioned about 40. When you multiply 40, let's assume all of them use V8. Now multiply that 40 by 2,000. Let's say fueling that V8 is 2,000. That's 80,000. Multiply that. Let's assume that government tours all the regions, 16 regions. That is what? 80,000 times 16. That's around 1,280,000 Ghana cedis. Where is it going? Yes. So it means that we actually need fiscal discipline. We actually need to discipline ourselves when it comes to what? Revenue. And there's a whole lot of fiscal, people are dodging what? Taxes. There are people are finding ways to evade taxes. Now they say what? Tax avoidance is illegal, whilst tax evasion is what? Is illegal. And people are finding ways to dodge it. These are things that we need to look at, and I feel it will help us.
More in the financial space, and the Executive Director of Ecobank Ghana, Dr. Edward Botry, has indicated that customers stand a chance to benefit from a life insurance cover when they create salary accounts with the bank. According to him, customers stand a chance to benefit largely from the Ecobank Double Salary Reloaded promo. He was speaking at the launch.
Ecobank Ghana has launched the second edition of its Double Salary Reloaded promo. The promo gives salary earners the opportunity to double or triple their salaries through the bank. In an interview, Executive Director of Ecobank Ghana, Dr. Edward Botry, said the promo is tailored towards giving back to the society.
This promotion will give them the chance to win several prizes, including quadrupling the salaries that they are paid by their employers at the end of the month. There are going to be 3 draws every month from now. And for us, this is a way for us to give back, a way for us to thank our customers, a way for us to appreciate them for their custom. The prizes that we are giving out to them, it's even much more than we did for last year. The thing also is this, that even apart from the promotion, the salary account itself, which is not a promotion, which runs throughout the year and basically gives our customers a lot of benefits, to the extent that a life insurance cover, even when they are sick, even when they lose their jobs, there's some insurance in place that they can benefit from.
Marketing manager and Caritas at the National Lottery Authority, Bernard Boama, assured that personal information of customers would be protected against activities of hackers during the promo.
Everything is going to be drawn digitally. So with a click of a button, all the winners will be populated on the screen. We're going to have their names, branch numbers, contact numbers, and all relevant details appearing. But one of the things that we are mindful of has to do with data protection. So we work in partnership with our client, that is Ecobank, to ensure that vital or key information is not released, because definitely when you are doing the draws, the general public will also be there. So at times when some of this information also falls into the hands of these miscreants or scammers, there's a tendency for them to also use it to do negative or disturbing things. So all those things are well catered for.
Winners of the promo would receive their prizes and be credited directly by the bank.
Remember, you're still watching Prime Business. Fair Trade Africa has introduced gender ambassadors under its sustainable, democratic and inclusive cocoa cooperatives in West Africa. The project aims to directly strengthen 90 beneficiaries and indirectly support 30,000 others from 30 cooperatives in Ghana to assume leadership positions in their cooperatives. There is more in this report.
Stakeholders at Fair Trade bemoan poverty and gender inequality challenges in the cocoa sector. Cooperatives have been identified as essential in solving problems faced by individual farmers. The Women's School of Leadership seeks to empower women and strengthen their leadership in their communities. The training is intended to solve problems within cocoa cooperatives. Edward Akapere is head of Region West Africa Network, Fair Trade.
This is the first cohort. The second cohort is moving on to a next set of cooperatives. That will push us closer to reaching our target. And then, having achieved the target under this project, as I said, 90 for women and then 40 for the youth, the objective will then be to look for an opportunity to extend that within the current funding arrangement, or to go into other partnerships or collaborations with donors and other like-minded organizations to increase the number.
The Maiden Women's School of Leadership and Young Cooperative Managers Academy graduation was held in the Ashanti region. The graduates were from the Esunafo North Cocoa Cooperative and Kwapa Cocoa Farmers Union. Programs Director of Fair Trade Africa, Chris Oluch, reiterated the organization's commitment to empowering women and the youth.
So in line with our strategic interventions and aspirations for 2021-2025, we have committed to empower these cooperative societies through a model of inclusion. And with that I mean empowering women and youth. So that links back to the NORAD main objectives of empowerment through the Women's School of Leadership model that we are pursuing under the NORAD program.
Some of the beneficiaries spoke to Love News.
Not only are we women limited to the kitchen, but we can do more if we are given the opportunities and platform to do better. So I am so much privileged to be part of the graduates today, and we are so much grateful for the positive exposure we have acquired.
So I was able to start some business of my own that I'm now able to also buy things, contribute to house shopping monies, do things of myself to my kids that makes them happy now, that I don't totally depend on my husband. So I'm really proud of being part of this Women's School of Leadership. It has helped me a lot in so many ways. I'm also able to start up a school of my own in my community.
Peter Sewa Ajoga reporting.
And that's it for Prime Business. I am Pious Kojo Backah from the entire production team led by my colleague, Bismarck Awusa. Do have a lovely evening. Prime Sports is next.